You thought you knew WWE? You thought you understood the landscape of professional wrestling? Think again. What happened on Friday Night Smackdown has just obliterated everything you believed about loyalty, about factions, and about the most dangerous man in WWE history. Brock Lesnar, the beast incarnate, the man who has destroyed every faction he's ever encountered, the ultimate lone wolf who answers to no one, just did the unthinkable. He just joined Seth Rollins' faction, and if you're not furious about this decision, you haven't been paying attention to WWE for the last 20 years. This is the biggest betrayal of wrestling logic we've ever witnessed, and Triple H just proved he's willing to sacrifice the very foundation of what made Brock Lesnar a legend just to create cheap shock value. But here's what WWE doesn't want you to know about this alliance, and trust me, when you hear the real reason behind this move, you're going to be livid. For 2 decades, Brock Lesnar has been the definition of dominance. The beast who conquered The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak. The part-timer who commanded millions of dollars because he could single-handedly carry pay-per-views. The Suplex City mayor who made grown men tremble with fear. And now he's playing second fiddle to Seth Rollins? The Monday Night Messiah who couldn't even keep his own authority faction together. This is not just poor booking, this is a complete character assassination of the most legitimate athlete WWE has ever had. Brock Lesnar, the former UFC heavyweight champion, the NCAA Division I wrestling champion, the man who made John Cena look like a child, is now taking orders from someone who loses more title matches than he wins? But wait, it gets worse. The way this alliance was formed on SmackDown was so insulting to longtime fans that it should be considered a slap in the face to anyone who's invested emotionally in these characters. Picture this: Seth Rollins, desperate after losing his World Heavyweight Championship, cutting a promo about needing real power in his corner. Then Brock's music hits, and instead of F5ing Rollins into oblivion like he would have done to anyone else who dared summon him, he walks down that ramp and shakes hands with the architect? Shakes hands. The man who Suplex City'd Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, who made Kurt Angle tap out, who ended careers with his bare hands, and he's doing corporate handshakes now? This is the same Brock Lesnar who used to no-show events because he didn't feel like dealing with WWE's politics, and now he's playing politics with Seth Rollins? The crowd was stunned into silence. Not because it was an amazing moment, but because it made zero sense. Even the commentators sounded confused trying to sell this garbage. Michael Cole was stumbling over his words like he couldn't believe what he was seeing, and for good reason, because this alliance violates everything we know about both characters. Think about Seth Rollins' faction history. The Shield fell apart because of his betrayal. The Authority crumbled because he couldn't handle the pressure. Monday Night Messiah was a disaster that WWE wants you to forget. And now we're supposed to believe that Brock Lesnar, who has never needed anyone, who has never been second to anyone, would join this guy's group? But here's the real kicker that's going to make your blood boil: this isn't about storytelling. This isn't about creating compelling television. This is about WWE being desperate to make Seth Rollins relevant again after he's become one of the most boring champions in recent memory. They're using Brock Lesnar as a crutch to prop up someone who should be carrying his own weight. The worst part? Brock's first act as a faction member was helping Seth win a meaningless tag team match against Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes. Brock Lesnar, the man who main evented multiple WrestleManias, is now playing muscle for tag team matches. Do you understand how insulting this is to his legacy? This is the same man who had legendary encounters with The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, and John Cena. The same beast who made Triple H look ordinary. The same suplex machine who could carry an entire pay-per-view with just his presence. And now he's reduced to being Seth Rollins' enforcer in throwaway television matches? WWE is trying to convince you that this makes sense because Brock respects Seth's wrestling ability. Wrestling ability? Brock Lesnar has destroyed better technical wrestlers than Seth Rollins in his sleep. Kurt Angle was a better wrestler, Brock dominated him. Daniel Bryan was a better wrestler, Brock crushed him. CM Punk was more innovative, Brock ended his reign of terror. The truth is that creative has run out of ideas for both men, so they're throwing them together hoping fans will accept it because big names together must equal good television. But that's not how storytelling works. That's not how character development works. And that's definitely not how you honor the legacy of someone like Brock Lesnar. Remember when Brock returned in 2012? The crowd erupted because they knew they were seeing something special. A legitimate athlete who commanded respect through fear and dominance. Fast forward to 2025, and that same man is taking strategic advice from Seth Rollins about how to handle mid-card feuds? This is character regression of the highest order. And don't even get me started on what this does to Seth's character. The Monday Night Messiah gimmick was supposed to be about him being a leader, about him building something bigger than himself. But if you need Brock Lesnar to validate your leadership, then you're not a leader, you're just another guy with a powerful friend. The faction dynamic makes no sense either. In successful factions, there's usually a clear hierarchy or mutual benefit. The Four Horsemen worked because everyone brought something unique. Evolution worked because Triple H was the leader and everyone else was learning from him. Even the Authority worked initially because everyone had a role that made sense. But what's Brock's role here? The muscle? He's Brock Lesnar, he doesn't need a faction to be muscle. The veteran presence? Seth Rollins isn't some rookie who needs guidance. The draw? Brock was already the biggest draw in WWE without needing anyone else's help. This alliance cheapens both men. It makes Brock look like he's lost his edge, like he's become just another roster member instead of the special attraction he's always been. And it makes Seth look weak, like he can't succeed without having the most dominant force in WWE history watching his back. WWE expects you to forget that just months ago, these two men would have been natural enemies. Seth Rollins, the company champion who shows up every week and carries the workload. Brock Lesnar, the part-time attraction who commands main event spots without putting in full-time effort. These should be opposing philosophies, not alliance material. The booking is so lazy it's insulting. Instead of creating compelling individual storylines for both men, creative took the easy way out and threw them together. Instead of finding new challenges for Brock that would maintain his mystique, they're making him a supporting character. Instead of forcing Seth to evolve and grow as a performer, they're giving him a cheat code. What makes this even more infuriating is that WWE has better options available. They could have had Brock return as a special attraction for premium live events. They could have put him in a program with Roman Reigns that actually makes sense. They could have used him to elevate newer stars who could benefit from that association. But instead, we get this nonsense where two established main eventers are clinging to each other because neither can generate compelling individual storylines anymore. It's creative bankruptcy disguised as a shocking swerve. And the worst part about this whole situation? WWE is going to try to gaslight fans into believing this makes sense. They'll have their commentary team oversell every interaction. They'll produce video packages highlighting their unlikely partnership. They'll manufacture moments that are supposed to make us forget how ridiculous this alliance is fundamentally. But we're not going to forget. We're not going to pretend that this makes character sense just because WWE wants us to. This is the same company that destroyed The Fiend's mystique, that ruined Braun Strowman's momentum, that turned Goldberg into a part-time afterthought. And now they're doing it to Brock Lesnar. The man who should be WWE's final boss, their ultimate special attraction, their ace in the hole for when they need to generate real excitement, and he's been reduced to being Seth Rollins' backup dancer. This is unacceptable. If you're a longtime WWE fan, if you remember what made Brock Lesnar special in the first place, if you understand that some wrestlers are bigger than factions and storylines, then you should be outraged by this development. This isn't evolution, this isn't creative storytelling, this is the destruction of one of wrestling's greatest characters for short-term shock value. Comment below and tell me I'm wrong. Tell me how this alliance makes any sense given these men's histories. Tell me how reducing Brock Lesnar to a faction member improves his character. Because I guarantee you can't, and WWE is counting on you not even trying to think critically about this disaster of a decision. The Beast incarnate deserves better. Seth Rollins deserves better. And most importantly, you deserve better than this lazy attempt at sports entertainment. This faction is going to fail spectacularly, and when it does, remember that you heard it here first. What do you think about this alliance? Are you as furious as I am, or are you willing to give WWE the benefit of the doubt? Let me know in the comments, smash the like button if you agree this is a terrible decision, and subscribe if you want more honest takes on WWE's questionable booking choices.